Yo, 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 yo. All right, go ahead. Welcome. Take for take. As you can see, I am rocking solo today. All right. So supposed to have some guys come in, but they didn't make it. Face on, the international no renowned hater is out sick today. So I'm gonna get in here, wrap this up, knock out this live stream, and make this really quick. Hopefully we can break this down in roughly about 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and start talking about the Knicks, right? Talking about the playoffs. Mike has done a fantastic job not putting this all on Jalen Brunson, right? Um, last year they kind of played like hero ball and staying stagnant and wasn't really passing, or it was just the Jalen Brunson show, right? This go around, it seems that there is way better system in place with Cat not being a point forward in the way of LeBron or anything else, but able to make plays, run plays, come from that forward position. So it's not all on Jalen Brunson. Obviously, the cast is also doing their job as well. Mikhail's now, not gonna say turning it around, but he's kind of figuring it out, having this upper good games, bad games. OG has also been great as well. So there's no shock to me on that. And just in general, they're the best. They possibly have the best starting lineup. We said this in the last podcast, 1 through 5, essentially in the NBA. Not saying team, but the best starting lineup. I do also think that we really discredit them. Right? They are beating teams by what plus minus like 20. Right? The Knicks. We're talking about the Knicks. They're beating people like that bad. And that's historic, right? Golden State, I think, was at that time with Kevin Durant and everything was like a plus like 17, right? So this is historic numbers. We can blame it on the East and say that the East is super weak, which I mean, it pays the difference to it. But regardless, they're still wiping the floor with them. They are obviously on a different stratosphere, and rather than the other opposition and positions that they played against with teams and stuff like that. But Knicks are just taking it. So I'm going to really leave that close that book on that as far as the East. I'm kind of looking ahead in the finals, right? I personally think that the Knicks, in general, whomever they play on the West, it will not just be a sweep. It's not going to be a sweep. I'm sorry. I don't think Adam plays the game of these horrible refs, which, man, I wish the cast was here for that because the refing has been atrocious. But I'm hoping that when they go to the Garden, you can't do that. It's the Garden, right? The Knicks fans are not going to have it. It's just too big of a place, too historic of a building to let refs absolutely ruin that. So I do think they match up pretty well with a lot of teams on the West. Honestly, I was talking earlier on the previous podcast and a few other guys to bring in if Spurs, when you bring Wemby out with Cat being able to shoot and stuff like that. We used to talk to Shadow. He was on the previous podcast, and now he's going to be joining us going forward more often. And I always say that the way to beat the Spurs is bringing Wemby out of the paint. So right now, as of 8:14 Central Time, May 28th, I'm recording this before the game or around the game, maybe. So we're going to see if this is going to be a sweep for OKC, but it wouldn't surprise me, right? Now shifting back over to the West and trying to give Knicks the credit, but yeah, like I said, I don't think that anyone's just going to blow them out. They're going to whoop them. The Knicks have enough experience, enough variables that everybody can shoot, play defense. Even Josh Hart is showing up that they can give anyone an issue on the right night. All right, and I believe in that. Mike, the coach, came from a great coaching tree, so I think that he can make the adjustments. It's time. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the West. All right, so right now, 3-2, San Antonio Spurs, trailing OKC, right? Biggest factor is OKC defense. Yes, they hack. They actually hack on both sides, right? But I will say without a doubt, the egregious fouls and egregious flopping is definitely on OKC side. I'm not sure about the exact foul numbers, but the timing of the fouls, all that stuff to me is just timing and systematic. And the refs are just too really friendly with that. And I think that's shown on court. We've seen it all year. And I mean, unfortunately, maybe it's like fighting in this sense. In order to beat the champs, you have to really beat the champs, right? So I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna complain because it's a terrible product, but I just saw that their ratings have been really high. I think they're one of the most watched games. And sometimes you feel like you hear that all the time, but no, it just keeps on rising depending on the situation. But I don't think it's more so because it's a good game. I just think that it's two anomalies facing against each other. You have a 7-5 Frenchman that we see Spurs coming up, and people are interested to see how that happens, his development, and how he wins. On the other side, you got OKC. That's also like a historic team. People are at this point seeing the historic defense. You got SGA. They're the TikTok crew. There's a few other things why teams like them and why the NBA would like them to stay, prominent. So, and dominant, whether they win or lose. So let me go ahead and get back into the notes I have. So OKC defense. Consistently won the turnover battle, right? Castle struggled being the only ball handler in this series. Since Fox, well, not only when Fox in and out, Harper in and out, but he's been a consistent one. And I think that OKC just has experience, man. That's what it is. Defense, experience, favorite Thunder in this one. And San Antonio was shooting under 40% while transition points too. I turned to dang. OKC is already holding San Antonio to stretches of 40% shooting, and with the turnovers. So that's a recipe for disaster. And they're two defensive teams, so don't get me wrong. They're two defensive teams, but OKC has done it for a year or so, longer than that, but they just start winning and being so dominant. They've been doing it longer, and obviously this is where the youth comes in with Spurs. Yes, they have a Wemby. I've gone on record say that Wemby is the best 22-year-old I've ever seen, and I still stand on that. But this is where experience comes in. This is where gelling comes in. This is where a lot of things that's the intangibles. It's not the stats at this point, right? It's the intangibles. They've been there. Some are vets. They've been there for a while. They've been to the championship. They won a championship, and that shows. Let's go to SGA. So SGA, Wemby was the best player in the series until he wasn't. Another saying that it is what it is until it isn't. This is that, right? Wemby's absolutely two-way demon. SGA start to show up after, everybody giving flack for that first game and that stinker, and ever since then, man, he's been doing this thing. Even a few games where his teammates stepped up and he didn't really do too much, he was still facilitating. And I think that's something you rarely see from SGA. So when you have that, what can you stop? Hold on. He's pulled up. I am not going solo today.
What's up, brother?
Hey, man, I'm all right.
Hey, my bad. After the Spurs game, I was locked in. I was like, oh shoot.
It's all good. That's why I sent it twice. Yeah. We was going. So, there's a few things I'm just gonna catch up and say that. Yeah, I was talking about the OKC experience, right, versus Spurs. Like you mentioned, or you mentioned last pod that they have young guards. They're young guards and stuff like that, where they need to be. And I was just saying that OKC winning the turnover battle, with Castle being the primary ball handler of there without having too much help from Fox being in and out of lineup and so forth. And I was just giving actually SGA credit because the first game was about to ass. And we talked a lot, including myself. You know what I'm saying? I hate the flopping, but a few games he's shown that, why he's the best guard, possibly the best player in the league. I think one night he didn't shoot well, but it was the other Jalen, and AJ Mitchell, but he was doing more facilitating. There was a few things. So that's where I stopped.
Yeah, definitely. I think the game plan we had at first was, we're going to double SGA, and we was doubling him and not let him touch the ball, but then Caruso gets 30 points, and you're like, okay. And then then you do it again, and then the other Jalen gets like 15, 18. It was like, oh my God. Then Caruso has another. I'm like, oh, we got to stop this. Then you just go back to your defensive principles. Like, play defense, switch on everything, play hard, and we're not just going to allow SGA to just make the right pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he, make it hard for him to score, he's a superstar. He's going to get buckets, but leaving all them people open and just praying that they missed. It's not LeBron at '07. They got capable role players who already won the championship. So you can't carry them like this their first time on the block. So I'm just glad to switch that up a little bit because that wasn't it.
Yeah, I must say I agree because like I have some notes here, of course, that what Alex was in my notes as well as they're showing up because they've been there before, especially Alex Caruso,
Yeah,
being on multiple teams of championships, so he knows what it takes, whether people think about it or not. Vets are very important. I
for
can say
sure.
for Detroit, we were this good because our vets. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with it. I have another note about Spurs 3-point inconsistency.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that? Being a fan, but also, really
Um,
digesting and breaking it down.
I think that the thing about us is we play a very 5 out, your turn, my turn, everybody go get a bucket style of basketball. And the thing about that is everybody on our team does different things. The only real 3-point shooter that we have is Shane Penny, and Vassell. He's not just a 3-point shooter. He's a volume shooter. He's a scorer.
It's
Um,
called okay.
yeah. So, but he is never shy about running downfield, just pulling that thing up. That's what he do. He makes it. We need him to do that, but um, our game is predicated on, I guess, more field than anything. So I mean, the 3-point inconsistency, it would bother me if we were a one-trick pony type of team. But when you have
Mhm.
somebody like Fox who can penetrate and kick out, and then he comes out the game, and you have Harper who kind of does the same thing, and Castle who doesn't even really want to shoot, he just wants to get to the hole.
Cup, yeah.
We're not really a dependent on our 3-point shooting team, which is why when Wemby's out there on the perimeter shooting 10, 11 threes a game, it kind of hurts us sometimes if it's not going because nobody's getting aboard. And then, so um, would I like to be shooting 50% from three? Sure, any team would, but
Hmm.
just the way that we're set up, it doesn't really bother me too much because I just think about the style of play that we play. Even my old Spurs teams, we had like 3-point specialists like a Danny Green
Yeah,
or
that's true.
Gary Neal or you have guys like Bruce Bowen who played D that stood in the corner and shot. So we never really been like a sniper kind of team. A guy might get hot, but for the most part, I'm okay with it. Shooting like what 30, 35, 36%. I'm not too mad at it. Um,
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, because I know that the Spurs are not that type of team, but when I'm looking at numbers, I think that I think that that's where it's tied right now. And I don't want me personally just be outside being in. I don't want you all to be a 3-point team. But you're right. We always grew up with they didn't have some shooters for sure,
yeah.
but that wasn't their identity. But I think while we're still on the Spurs, before we talk about the ops, um, I want to ask you about Wemby,
Mhm.
right? I see that there's been a dip. Wemby has gone to a point where it's like I'm starting thinking. Let me know if I'm wrong or I'm speaking out of turn. But I think Wemby is now needs to be in the evolution of figuring out when it's shot or something's not going right to do something else to like an extreme extent, right? So, for example, game 5, he had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 4 for 15. We know your shot's not going, right? They're roughing you up. Russ being very okay with tic tac fouls, but really calling the key important fouls in OKC favor. I don't care what nobody say. And but only landing what like 4 rebounds, game 3, 8, 6. It's like, man, you 7-5.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, but
I think
yeah, do that.
I think um and one thing that I do hear a lot is people say like well you're 7'4", you're 7'5". I think that a lot of times people just assume that because you're tall you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, not realizing that there's been plenty of tall players in the NBA. I think that the issue with Wemby is, and he even said it, he has to the next evolution in his game is trying to figure out how to get his teammates better looks, like how to get them more involved. And I think that the thing
Mm,
about Wemby, which makes him so dynamic, is the fact that if his offense isn't going in because he's so dynamic defensively, he still has such an impact on the game. So I'm not really one of those people that's like, look, you gotta score 40 or anything like that. I do notice that, when he plays inside, and he starts off early, like, dominating, it opens up everything for us. But the thing about that is we don't play through Victor Wembanyama. We play through the system that is the Spurs system, so that depends on the matchup. It depends on what's going on. I've never been one of those people that kind of, resorted to the notion of your best player has to take the last shot, or that you got to always get your best player involved early. It just depends on the matchup. If I got a matchup that's better, I'm going to take that. And I think that the way we play, especially like when Victor first got there, when everybody, I don't know if you remember, everybody used to be like, dang, man, they not giving this man a ball. They not looking for him,
Yeah.
But what a difference having a point guard makes, having getting castled the next year, you know what I'm saying? Then getting hard. So I think it's more so just Wemby being more consistent. Also, I mean, to be honest, in the playoffs, he's playing a lot more minutes, He was averaging 29 minutes a game. I mean, during the regular season. Now he's playing 41, 42 minutes a game, So I think that's an adjustment too. But I just think that just finding that balance between, when to shoot and when to, get inside is the main thing, honestly, because he's always going to impact the game just because of his defense.
No, I mean I agree with that, and I agree with your insight about players not rebounding, right? So, for example, Triple J is 6'9", 6'10", and is a horrid rebounder.
Yeah,
right?
And it's crazy. They always talk about Triple J, and I'd be like,
I mean, so I do agree with that, but I think the difference is when I see the Wemby thing is I'm 24 rebounds, 17 rebounds, like. He can do it.
He can do it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm about to say, but I do agree with you. You may put a different perspective on the time that he's playing, of course. Also, that is something I was going to say as well, but you brought it up. When he get the ball, I saw him asking for it, and sometimes it gets stopped. So I think that those are two things that I think, and I'm not going to even talk about defensively, like we said.
Yeah.
He's
going to work. Wemby has to do more with, learning how to seal. And then also he has to understand, he has to do better with sealing sometimes, but also establishing himself, because he's not a physical. He's not soul, but he's not a physically. He's skinny.
He's not dominant.
I will say this: he has definitely put on a lot more muscle than when he first got into the league. But I mean, still. He's 7'5". You're gonna, no matter how much KD left, you're gonna always, what I'm saying? Unless you just go crazy like Giannis, But I wouldn't even want him to do that because I don't know how his shot and stuff would be. But I'm saying all that to say that I think it's more so just Wemby just understanding how he can affect the game in the paint more, which is why you saw him with Hakeem. You saw him doing different things, and those are him taking the next steps. He understands that he understands that he wants to be great. So now he's just doing the things that he feels like he needs to do in order to be great. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, my last notes for it is reason why OKC are like dominating these silent stats is like the hustle, offensive rebounds, they're up, loose balls, extra possessions, and it's a lot. And that can slow the game down or make it fast. They just kind of play at a different pace. But I think ultimately it just comes down to it's a young core, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, y'all, right now, everybody else that are not Spurs fans, enjoy the league while it is. Because once he starts to figure out.
And I think also people got to think, this is Harper's first year. This is Carter Bryant's first year. This is Wemby's third year, but, he missed basically half of last year with the blood clot. Him and Fox didn't really play at all too much last year. It's just a lot, so this is really like the first year, like the core, so but I just don't like I think for me, I'm not really big on, like, I don't know what an old team is. When I think of old team, I guess I think of like stars. So I would say like the Warriors are an old team or something like that. But as far as like us, I think we are like you said, our core is young, but I feel like overall we do have we have vets. You know what I'm saying? It's just that our vets don't have a lot of experience, if that makes sense. Like I said, Vassell's in his 6th year, Kelvin Johnson in his 7th, and it's their first time in the playoffs. You know,
I see what you're saying.
Fox
I
has
see what
only
you're saying.
Fox has been in the league. I don't know how many years, but this is only his 2nd time. And you know, it's just
Yeah.
you know, and then Harrison Barnes is, you know, he getting up there. Bismack Biyombo been in the league a long. He's 33 years old. Golly, I did not believe that.
That's
and
crazy.
33 years old.
Oh gosh, clip
But,
that.
so I just think there's a lot of things to consider. But Mason Plum, you know, you got guys, Kelly Olynyk, guys on the bench that kind of, you know, make it a little, you know, but as far as like playing, people that are playing, the core is definitely young. So
No, I mean, obviously, I agree. I mean, right now, like I told people that, right, the average window of a team winning a championship, it typically starts at 27. Spurs I think Spurs are like averaging 26 or 27. So they're a young core, but like they are really hitting the beginning of the spear. They're on track.
yeah, because
Yeah.
Harper's 20, I think. Wemby's 22, I think. Castle is 21. Like they're all young, you know. So they got time, you know. So
they got time, but this, I think the learning curve is going to be quick because, like I said, y'all are now in the window. You are approaching that.
You're in the Western Conference Finals, so at this point, anything less is, you know, it's got to be championship or bust. Like from that going forward. But the thing about the Spurs is that it's always been like that. There is no, okay, we're just gonna, you know, we always trying to do something, you know. So I have no doubt in that. It's just about, I guess, trusting the process, as they say.
Yeah, the real process.
Some processes work better than others.
Okay, that's fair. That's a really nice way to put it. That's a very nice way to put it.
Work better than others. So
okay, all right. So the next thing I want to go ahead and we talked a lot about the Spurs. So you know what? Let me go ahead and revisit this. How do you feel that do you think the Knicks are going to get a pushover by whoever wins in the West? Because I don't think so.
No, I don't think it'll be a pushover. We got to see what's up with Mitchell Robinson. You see, he just broke his
pinky. Yeah, so
that
does change things.
Mitchell Robinson is the one player. I ain't gonna lie, he's the one player on their team that really kind of annoys me, especially when I think of our matchup, because of just how he's literally in there just to get boards and just to muck stuff up, you know. And when he's very strong, very powerful, and you know, with Wemby's frame and stuff like that, he's the, you know, but no, I think that, I mean, even as a fan, I think that the Knicks versus the Spurs will be, I think more people want to see Knicks versus Spurs just because of a lot of people are kind of tired of Thunder, but also just because of nostalgia, because you know, the last time that the Knicks made the finals, they was playing against the Spurs. And then also, I think if the Thunder would have played the Knicks, I don't know what that would look like, you know, because I know for a fact that the wings for the Knicks are just they're so good, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say
McHale and OG, and then
Hard.
You know, just hard. Yeah. And then you got Shamit come to the bench. You got Miles McBride, who never misses. You know, Jordan Clarkson can still play.
Jordan Clarkson is an underrated hooper, man. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, it's cool. Just a lot. So I don't think it'll be a pushover. I think it'll go 6 or 7. You know, I think if the Knicks play the Thunder, I think the Knicks can overpower the Thunder.
I agree.
Because they have like, I don't think they have, first of all, Chet can't do nothing with Wemby. What he gonna do with Towns? You know, I mean, that's just what I'm thinking about. What he gonna do with Anunoby? What he gonna, like, those are strong guys, you know what I'm saying? And they're not shy about, you know, getting to the rack. So I don't know. I think they would just overpower the Knicks. Honestly, I think they will overpower the Thunder. And I don't think that the Thunder role players would be as good because the Thunder's get a lot of points off of turnovers, but when you have a team that's so locked in, that's so vet heavy, like their entire team is vet heavy, the Knicks. They are a vet heavy team from Mitchell to Cat to Brunson to Hart to
Yeah.
Hale to OG. Like they are, and they and they got experience. So I don't think the Knicks will be a pushover for any team. Honestly.
I feel that. I feel that. Okay. Well, I'm about to say, I dislike the Knicks, but at this point, since it's the East, I want a championship in the East. It's still seeming like that when it comes to light is bright, like East is not that far from the West when it comes to that
Yeah.
top margin. But it just sucks rooting for the Knicks.
One thing about the Knicks that I did want to say was there's been this notion going around that would this be one of the greatest teams because of the point differential and stuff like that. And I do understand it, but I do think that if we're being honest, I can't compare Minnesota, Denver, OKC, San Antonio to the Sixers and the Hawks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just different. And I think anybody who watching the teams, and watching the games, they can see that. And they even Cavs, the Cavs just do what the Cavs do. So the Knicks haven't lost a game in what? They've won like 10 in a row.
Yeah, they're in a pretty crazy streak.
So yeah. That
yeah. Okay. I mean, I mentioned that too, though. I mentioned that like we still got to show them respect at the end of the day, and the point differential, like it doesn't tell the whole story, like you said, but it still tells like a story.
For sure.
And it's like you said, it's just because it's ultra dominant.
Yeah.
Even the games they lost, it was like very much so like weird things that happen for them to lose. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'll give them that respect, I guess. Okay, let's go move to one of the bigger things that came out. NBA new draft lottery system officially approved. The anti-draft reform of the I guess it's called the 3-2-1 system for the anti-tanking. So how do we feel about this? Because me, I'm in the less crowd of this, and I'm rooting for this. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let me read like the first few things just when it gets played back. So old system, 14 lottery teams, worst 3 teams have a 14% chance at the number 1 pick. So teams had a major incentive to tank. With the new 3-2-1 system, granted you all, when y'all listen to this, that there's way more details on it, but I'm kind of giving you a summary. More non-playoff playing teams are now in the lottery. It went from 14 to 16, which makes sense because we're going to have an expansion, right? Worst teams are actually penalized for, staying bad. And instead of rewarding the 3 worst teams, we got the bottom 3 teams now. They only get 2 lottery balls. Mid lottery teams, roughly teams ranked around 4-10 get 3. So this means that sitting those players on the bench that are not playing and know they could play is actually no longer the best strategy of it. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and want to hear your thoughts on the Shadow.
I don't feel a way either way. Honestly, it means that people are gonna have to be more strategic with how they determine what games they're gonna get people off. But I will say this: all it takes is for a major same thing we kind of had this year, where there was a lot of up in the air about if Cade and Luka were going to be able to make the team because of the 65 minimum, and then they was able to get these special, and it's just all it's going to take is for something else to happen, or for some team to figure out a strategy to work the system, and then it'll be something else. Like I think that the game evolves. There's always going to be something, but I think the most important thing is that there is an effort by the uppers to try to find a way to fix this. I don't necessarily know if every team, the players aren't. I think the thing is, it's a good idea because you're not hurting the players. The players don't care because at the end of the day, it's like the players don't care about a draft pick. Like that's somebody that could take their spot. That's more so about the owners. Like no players not like, you know what, man, I ain't trying to play the game I love since I was, 4 years old. I'm trying to chill. Now they want to play.
Yeah.
But, you know, seedings and we trying to get this pick, is this person in the draft, X, Y, and Z. Those kind of things happen. And now if you just decide to be a horrible team, you don't even get the best odds. So I mean, I'm not against it. You have to reward. You can't just reward, you know, not doing, not playing the right way. Don't cheat the game.
Bro, see, I feel like you're the only person that has common sense with that, right? Like, hold on, I gotta, yeah, I gotta add that because I'm telling y'all, you're tweaking. So, here's the thing: I'd rather it be a bloodbath at the end of the season when there's two teams instead of watching like the Wiz and Nets games used to be horrible because we seen everybody on the bench. I'd rather see them having a bloodbath trying to not be in that three. So that's number one. Number two, everybody's like, oh, well, teams won't get better because you won't get the best player. And you're only eliminating one thing. There's still trades. There's still free agency, obviously. And this puts pressure on your front office, right? For example, Wizards. Maybe it may be a harsh take, but the Wizards were going to be solid next year regardless because they picked up Anthony Davis and they picked up Trey. They were building for that. And Wizards has not been a prime market in God knows how long. So therefore, there are other teams that can do the same thing, right? It just adds pressure to your front office to really just do something.
For sure.
So
and now you have to, and now if it's 2 games, it's no different than fighting for a playoff spot. The lottery becomes like another playoff for at the end of the year. It's like, okay, cool. Well, we got Memphis and we got Memphis and New Orleans, and one of them is the third worst, and one of them is the 4th worst. Whoever wins this game, they get out of that 3, so they get one extra ball if they get into that 4th spot. Like people they're gonna play, because no front office is gonna say, hey man, let's lessen our odds in the lottery. They're gonna say, no, do what you got to do so we can do what we need to do to have a better chance to get a player that we want. So I think it's just another thing that they add, just to incentivize people to play. Everybody, I've never ever been one of those people that's like, bro, you making all this money, you supposed to do X, Y, Z. I don't like counting people's pockets, but this is a front office thing. I think people need this is a front. This is not a players want to play, but they understand that if the trainer be like, nah, or yeah, we're not gonna do this, or those are things that the coach say you're not playing. That's just how I go. So this is good. I mean, make the front office be a front office and stop making the players be scapegoats.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better. I don't know. Like, come on now, right there, easy.
Gotta stop scapegoating the players and having them look like they don't want to play because y'all don't want to play.
I'm about to say, not only that, there's another side to this too. Imagine if, for teams like Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee has tried to put things around Giannis, right? They have tried. Like I was earlier talking to someone on the phone about it, and I'm like, they're going to be the ones, they suck. But then he had to correct me because I've said it before. He said, hold on. Then try to get Dame, then try Miles Turner, then they did all these things. And I said, you know what? You're right. Because imagine if the Milwaukee Bucks were the team that got the first pick and now you have AJ in Milwaukee. That's fire. Yeah. It's another team to potentially go. Like, these are the things that people don't consist of. Instead of having AJ go to somewhere like Sacramento Kings. Bad habits, terrible franchise, poorly ran. Like, I'm not gonna say terrible franchise. I grew up also liking the Kings. We've had some good Kings moments. Shadow, and it wasn't long, but we've had some good Kings moments. But front office has been poorly managed. A few things, and now you put a prime player in that environment, and like Shadow just said, now you're blaming the player to hope you get out there, and that shouldn't be the case
at all.
So that's another side of it that people not saying. Like, don't get me wrong, there are going to be things that come with this, ramifications come, people try to get across, but everything is going to everybody's gonna always try to find the trick to the system.
For sure.
At least you're completely eliminating everything. And I'm not the biggest fan of Adam. I'll go on record and say that, especially Pistons getting a 5th pick all this time. So I should be the one of the people crying. But hear me out. Almost everything he's done, it kind of looks solid. People talk about the playing tournament.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people was hating on that. Bro, I love competitive basketball. You can't talk about how you tired of people just the game's not meaning nothing. We need to shorten the season, and then he give you a reason to want to watch it. The court change, the group play, like this is that it makes it more competitive. Like that's the whole point. Then it's like you get a team like the Lakers and the Lakers and the Bucks. They won the first 2. They hanging the banners. Knicks want to be too cool. They don't want to hang the banner up. You know what I'm saying? But it's something you should take pride in. It's no different than if your whole entire life, if you play in the NBA or any professional sport, this is what you play for, to compete. You playing to be competitive, not to just be out here just shucking a job and that's how you get hurt. So I just think that I love the in-season tournament. I love making people have to. Front offices have to think about how can we strategize to get picks by actually making our players play. I think that Adam has done a lot of great things to make the NBA money and to also make the NBA a more watchable product. I don't agree with everything, but for the most part, especially with that stuff he said the other day about the flopping and all that. But for the most part, you can't really get too upset with Adam Silver, with what he's doing as far as like making the games competitive. So
I agree. I completely agree. I agree. Like I said, still the biggest thing is the flopping. It's been the biggest thing to me. And for people that say like they teach everybody in the league to do that, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jared McCain was not flopping like that for Philly.
He wasn't. He wasn't trying. He was trying to get a bucket.
He was trying to get a bucket.
He was trying to win Rookie of the Year. Actually, that's what he was doing. He was doing he was trying to win Rookie of the Year. So, hey,
it's a culture thing, man.
Yeah, and then,
it's a culture thing.
And I see a lot of my basketball friends say stuff like, they're exaggerating the content. You're taught to do. That's cool, but that's not bad. To me, I don't like cheating. I don't care. I'm the kind of person when I play a game, I want to win the right way. I'm not the kind of guy where it's like we playing Monopoly and you go to the bathroom and I take some more money out the bank and I got more money so I can buy the property or I move my man a step because I rolled a dice. I don't do stuff like that. I want to play the correct way because that's the integrity. People talk about the integrity. The integrity of the game is important. I'm not one of those people I'm not a, oh my God, you can't score at the last minute. Man, fuck all that. Score at the last second game. I care. But I'm just, as far as like protecting what is basketball and what it should be, I mean, I just think that, we got to have some kind of, balance, They were showing highlights of Kobe and Melo and how they was fighting for position and they pushing and they fight, but they playing they playoff basketball. Nobody's calling no foul. Now you can't even breathe on people. It's just certain stuff where it's like people talk about those the old. That wasn't that long ago. That was 2009, 2010. It wasn't that long ago. And I think that people wouldn't have such a problem with the way that certain things look with certain teams and certain players on those teams if it was across the board. But it's not across the board. When only a team can play a certain type of way, and because they have a reputation, it's like, oh, that's just good basketball. Anybody else does, it's like, it's doing too much. It's like, okay, now we got an issue,
right?
But that's just my biggest thing with Adam. But other than that, he's been great for the NBA. And I think that he is, he's a very intelligent person. Went to Duke, of course, and he just, I think everything he's done, besides the comments about the flopping and trying to figure this, tanking thing out, that was just another thing that he did that, was great. So
this man say because he went to Duke.
You're a victim.
That's all I'm gonna say. Look, man.
Wasn't me.
But no, look, but Collins will come back, and then we're gonna have those discussions for sure. I wish he was on. Wish you were here when
Yeah, I know.
UConn put Duke out. Yeah, you oh man, timing is everything, brother.
No, for real.
Because I would get crazy. All right. I know we usually go for an hour, but it is just me and you. Your team is on. I just want to make sure we got a recording up to keep it going strong for sure. Make sure I have content to make throughout the week and stuff like that. So outside of that, do you have anything? Because I want you to get back to your game. Because if it was Pistons,
yeah, I know it's a halftime. They about to come back. I do want to say that I just really hope there's a lot of people, and I want this to be like it's a lot of people that's been talking a lot of shit about the Spurs, right? These last couple games, y'all better pray they don't win the series. Y'all better pray they lose tonight or they lose game 7. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause okay.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, they're gonna find out. I got a list.
Hey, bro.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. That's all I got to say.
Hey man, you heard him yourself. So once again, another episode wrapped up. Thursday nights, we talk ball. Monday, we talk about sports and comics. I mean, not sports and comics, about comics, movies, and all that type of stuff. Okay. So with that being said, I will see you all back Monday. This is Ball segment of Take for Take. Sports Notion Shadow Hall. Y'all already know his name at this point. Y'all should. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good weekend.